Welcome to Hard Road Theater's Stage at Home radio serials, where we step back in time and bring you stories and tales from the golden age of radio. Tonight, we bring you Father Knows Best, a half-hour visit with your neighbors, the Andersons, brought to you by Vickery Chiropractic. Vickery Chiropractic Clinic treats people of all ages in the rehabilitation and relief of joint, muscle, and nerve pain. Located at 806 Broadway right here in Highland, you can contact them on Facebook or by calling 618-654-4451. That's 618-654-4451. Now is the time of year when a strange malady falls upon the land, affecting people from every walk of life. Butchers and bakers and candlestick makers, managers and rookies and backroom bookies. It's an affliction that kills off thousands of grandmothers and brings a peculiar gleam to millions of eyes. It's known as baseball fever. And nowhere is it more prominent than in a certain white frame house on Maple Street in the fair city of Springfield. Like this.
But that's the worst thing they could have possibly done.
Oh, you know better than that.
Well, sure. But they had the tying run on third, didn't they?
The situation called for a squeeze play, and you know it.
Jim, your eggs are getting cold.
One out and a man on third, and he lets the batter hit away.
But Kelleher hits a long ball, Dad. If he hit a home run, I mean, we'd have won the game.
But if you're not interested in breakfast...
But he didn't hit a home run. He popped up.
Well, sure. But he could have hit a home run.
Oh, paper says it might snow.
If I'd been running the team, I'd have squeezed the man in.
Maybe Kelleher didn't know how to bunt.
3 people in Miami were lost in a blizzard.
Anybody who doesn't know how to bunt has no right playing in AAA ball.
I didn't say he didn't.
64
I said
people were
maybe
killed in
he
a telephone
didn't.
booth.
But if he played it safe, he couldn't have missed.
Somebody dropped an atom bomb when they weren't looking.
That's fine, honey. Bud, the basic principle of the squeeze play makes it almost foolproof. All they had to do was... What?
Something wrong, dear?
What did you just say?
Oh, I don't know, dear. I wasn't listening.
64 people were killed.
Oh, that.
Where did you see anything about 64 people being killed?
Well, you know, I may go down in history as the first person to find a practical use for the atom bomb.
What are you talking about?
It's probably the only thing known to science that will stop a conversation about baseball.
64 people in a telephone booth?
Well, they were all good friends.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Betty.
Hi.
How's the baseball capital of the world?
We have just relived last night's game between Springfield and Columbus.
Margaret.
Pitch for pitch.
Holy cow, Mom. We were just talking.
Ugh, baseball. I got all dressed up last night. Where did Roger take me? To the ball game.
Wow, did you see the game last night?
Well, I was there.
Betty, in the 9th inning, when Sauer was on
Jim,
third...
let's not go into that again.
But, honey, if she was there...
I don't
then
even know where third is.
Oh, fine.
And furthermore, I don't care.
Drink your orange juice, dear.
Betty, how could anyone possibly be in this family as long as you have and know as little about baseball?
It isn't easy, but I'll keep trying.
Morning, everybody.
Oh, hi.
Hiya, Squirt.
Good morning.
Kathy's only 9 and she knows more about baseball in 10 minutes than you do in a year.
Hurrah for her.
Bud, Joe Phillips was here last night.
Just a second, kitten. Tell your sister where third base is.
Third base?
That's right.
I didn't take it.
Kathy, when you play baseball, where is third base?
Oh, it's the rock next to the Hathaway's fence.
Margaret, may I have coffee?
Of course, dear.
Did somebody move it?
Kathy, let's talk about something else.
Well, that was the nicest thing I've heard around here for the past month.
Father, they're having a sale at Gorman's, and I saw the most
Betty.
wonderful... yes, Father?
We're not going to talk about dresses.
I wasn't going to talk about a dress, Father.
Oh, well, that's more like it.
This was the most beautiful suit you ever saw, and it was reduced from $89.50 to $70.
Betty!
Yes, Father?
No.
Jumpin' creepers.
Anybody else have any ideas about a topic of general interest? Wall Street? The foreign situation?
Gasoline scooters?
Not gasoline scooters.
That's what I thought.
How about Joe Phillips?
Well, that's a nice, lively subject. What about him?
He was here last night.
Fine. Anybody have anything brilliant to say about the weather?
Did I tell you about the envelope?
What envelope?
The one Joe Phillips left.
This is going by way of Sioux City, Iowa. All right, Kathy. What about the envelope?
It's on the desk in the den, and Joe said to be sure not to lose it because it has the tickets.
What tickets?
The baseball tickets that Bud won in the raffle.
Hey,
Bud?
Baseball again?
but I won!
Bud, you're shaking the whole table.
I won the tickets, Dad. They picked my name, and I won.
Bud, will you please calm down? There's no need to get Kathy, see who's at the door.
It was Bud's door.
I won!
Never mind whose door it was. Please go see who it is.
Gee whiz. Just because I'm the littlest one in the family, I'm not supposed to have any feelings?
Bud, what's this all about?
I won the tickets!
Oh dear, you spilled cream all over the table.
Oh, I'll fix it, Mother.
You won what tickets?
For the doubleheader tomorrow. We all chipped in $0.25 apiece, and I won! I got 2 tickets for $0.25!
Bud, don't you realize that amounts to gambling?
But it's not really...
And you know how we feel about gambling.
It wasn't gambling, Dad. The boys' club got the money that was left over.
Oh, how much was that?
35 cents.
Give the tickets back.
But, Dad, they're playing Columbus.
I wouldn't care if they were playing the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria.
Gosh, Dad. I thought you'd be happy. I could treat you to the game.
When a bunch of What?
Well, we couldn't afford to treat our fathers any other way, so that's the way we did it.
Your father's absolutely right, Bud. You and the other boys need...
Just a minute, Margaret. Let's look at this thing in a practical way.
Jim.
As long as the boys had an unselfish motive.
Jim Anderson.
And after all, the boys' club is making 35 cents.
Bud, the next time you spill the cream, can you just clean it up yourself?
All right, Betty, that's good enough.
Gonna play Columbus, huh?
They're in first place, too. But if we win both games...
Daddy!
Just a minute, Bud. What is it, Kathy?
It was a telegram, and I had to sign for it.
Fine. Now, you can sit down and rest a while.
Who's it from?
I suppose I open it and see.
I think that's a very good idea.
I signed it Kathleen Joy Anderson, and I had to write it very small.
No.
Jim?
Why does she have to pick on us?
It isn't Aunt Martha.
Not again.
She'll be here in the morning.
Oh, no.
Oh boy,
What are you so happy about?
she always gives me $1.
Maybe she won't come, huh, Dad? Like last time.
She'll be here at 10:17 tomorrow.
Oh, dear.
Why does she have to come at all? She's only going to stay one day.
How do you know?
It says so. Here. See?
Arrive 10:17 train Sunday, staying 1 day, meet me.
Tight-fisted old character. It'd kill her to use more than 10 words.
Jim.
Well, she's my aunt, and if I want to say she's tight-fisted, I'm going to say it. She's tight-fisted.
You said it.
Bud, will you please show a little more respect for your elders?
But you just said
Never mind what I said. She's old enough to be your grandmother, and you owe her a certain amount of respect.
Yes, sir.
The old battle axe.
Well, that takes care of the ball game tomorrow.
Why?
Jim, you are not going to run off to a ball game and leave her here.
Why not?
Jim Anderson, I will not entertain your Aunt Martha and her friends alone.
What friends? Who said anything about any friends?
Aunt Martha hasn't been in Springfield for over a year, and I'm sure she expects to see all of her old cronies.
Well, let her go see them. Who's stopping her?
We'll have to have them here.
Holy cow.
Oh, Margaret.
We'll have to serve tea and get some little cakes and things.
Honey.
Jim, I haven't had time to I haven't time to argue about it. We've got to call Mrs. Thornby and Mrs. Winters.
You mean rich Mrs. Winters? With the iron fence?
Yes, dear.
She gave me $1 once.
And I know she'll expect to see Mrs. Horace and Mr. Forrester.
You mean rich Mr. Forrester? With the electric runabout?
He gave me $1 too.
Kathy.
But they're the most prominent people in town.
They're a bunch of old fuddy-duddies.
Jim, that's no way to refer to the aristocracy of Springfield.
Aristocracy, my foot. Just because they've got a lot of money doesn't...
Oh, Mother, this is the most wonderful thing that's ever happened. We can get our names in the society column.
Isn't that awful? Margaret, just because my Aunt Martha's husband cornered the market in buggy whips...
Jim, please stop interrupting.
He was the biggest crook in the whole buggy whip business. That's what he was. And if you think
Amanda Wilson. We'll have to call her.
Amanda Wilson.
Margaret, if you'll only listen to me.
You mean the Amanda Wilson with the Rolls Royce and the chauffeur and the butler and the cook?
Betty,
and
stop drooling and sit down.
Oh, but Father, this is really just
Bud and I have tickets for the ball game tomorrow, and I don't care if my Aunt Martha shows up with the caretaker of Fort Knox.
You are not going to leave this house tomorrow afternoon, Jim. And you might as well. Betty, where are you going?
Oh, I have to call the society editor and arrange for pictures.
Margaret, for the love of Pete.
And it's a double header, too.
There will be lots of other ball games. And Kathy, you haven't finished your breakfast.
I haven't got time, Mommy. I have to go to the store.
What for?
I have to buy a new piggy bank.
Will Father go to the ball game with Bud? Or stay home and help entertain Aunt Martha? Right now, it looks like Mother will have the last word on that. Do you know that Jim Anderson has never been late for work? Or that Margaret Anderson has never burned a roast? Or that the Anderson kids always know when it's time for bed? Do you know why? It's because they always know the correct time thanks to Vickery Hickory Clock. Vickery Hickory Clocks, high-style, precision-made Swiss timepieces crafted right here in Highland, Illinois. Vickery Hickory Clocks are perfectly and precisely aligned so they never need an adjustment. Perfect for the kitchen, the rumpus room, and even the bedroom. Vickery Hickory Clocks. It's the movement that counts every day of the year. It's Sunday in Springfield and the noonday sun is shining and bright and warm. There's a feeling of joy and exhilaration in the air, the spirit of gaiety and good cheer. Everywhere, that is, but at 607 Maple Street. There, they've got Aunt Martha. Like this.
I tell you there is a draft, Margaret. I can feel it going right through my bones.
All right. Bud, close the window again.
Yes, ma'am.
Miserable city, Springfield. Always has been and always will be.
You know, Aunt Martha, there's a train leaving at 1 o'clock.
Jim,
Well, I just want Aunt Martha to be happy. And if she doesn't like it in Springfield,
don't
then...
you think the children have grown, Aunt Martha?
What did you expect them to do? Get smaller?
No, but I was...
Children have been growing for thousands of years, but parents act like they ought to be given a medal.
Did you say something, dear?
No, I was just thinking.
Jim, stand up.
What?
I said stand up.
Now look, Aunt Martha, I'm not a child, and if you think...
Jim?
All right. I'm up. Now what?
Disgusting.
What is?
The way you've put on weight.
I've done no such thing. I can wear the same clothes I was wearing 15 years ago. As a matter
You've
of...
got a corporation.
I've not got a corporation.
Jim, stop arguing with me. If there's one thing I detest... Margaret, this room is stifling.
Yes, Aunt Martha.
Stuffiest room I've ever been in all my life.
All right, Bud.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the trouble with modern houses. One minute they're cold, the next minute they're hotter than the hinges of... Well, little Kathleen.
Is this the bag you wanted, Aunt Martha?
Thank you, child. You're very sweet.
You're welcome, Aunt Martha.
Only one in the entire family with an ounce of brains. Can't for the life of me figure out... Bud?
Yes, ma'am.
Mother, I just talked to Miss Pritchard at the newspaper office, and it's all arranged.
That's fine, dear.
She's going to send Mrs. Latham over as soon as she finds her. Isn't it marvelous?
Betty, I wish you would stop bouncing.
Yes, Aunt Martha.
It's enough to make a person seasick.
They might even take pictures.
Would you like to hear my piece now, Aunt Martha?
Not now, Kathy.
But Aunt Martha said she was going to give me $1
Your mother
as soon as
said not now, Kathy.
Gee whiz.
Bud.
Yes, ma'am.
What are you doing with that window?
I thought somebody said Bud.
Close the window and leave it alone.
Yes, ma'am.
Bud, may I speak to you in the den, please?
Jim, you're not going to try anything.
I would like to speak privately to my son about something I just happened to remember. Do you mind?
No, but just be careful.
Yes, Margaret. All right, Bud.
But who's going to open and close the windows?
Oh, I'll take care of it.
Okay, but make sure you pay attention.
Come on, Bud.
Yes, sir.
Now, would you like to hear my piece, Aunt Martha?
Why don't you wait until later, Kathy?
There will be lots of times, Kathleen, lots of time.
Boy, am I getting a workout with that window.
Bud, when does the first game start?
1:30.
All right. Are we going to take this lying down or are we going to fight?
I don't know.
We're going to fight. We're going to show Aunt Martha that she can't push us around.
Attaboy!
And you know what you know how we're going to do it?
How?
I don't know.
Why don't we just go to the ball game?
Bud, your mother and I have been happily married for 18 years, and if you don't mind, I'd like to keep it that way.
Okay.
It's going to take an emergency. What if there were an emergency?
What kind of emergency?
Oh, the worst kind. Hector Smith is in trouble, and we've got to help him.
How do you know?
He's going to call.
He is?
Well, he won't really call, but Bud, I don't want you to get the idea that this is a usual thing for me.
Oh, I don't, Dad.
This is an extreme sort of emergency.
Ah, I know.
I mean, ours is.
Oh, it sure is.
And it requires extreme measures to counteract it.
You bet.
You understand what I just said?
Sure. We're going to pull a fast one on Mom.
Well, I suppose you could put it that way.
What are we going to do?
That's a very good question. Now, all we need is a very good answer. Let's see. If you were to go next door and use the Davis's telephone...
Ooh, that's a good idea.
No, if you weren't around, your mother'd get suspicious.
What's the difference? I mean, she's suspicious now.
True, but in planning a campaign of so delicate a nature...
Daddy.
Kathy! That's the answer. Good old Kathy.
It is? I mean, she is?
She certainly is.
Daddy, Mommy says...
Just a second, kitten. Come on in. Bud and I want to speak to you. Don't we, Bud?
Oh, sure.
What did I do now?
Not a thing, baby. Not a single blessed thing.
Mommy says, are you going to stay in here all day?
Kathy, how would you like to do a big favor for Daddy?
What kind of favor?
A very simple one. Call me up on the telephone.
Where are you going?
I'm not going anywhere.
Then how can I call you up?
Because you're going somewhere.
I can't. I have to recite my piece.
Just next door, Kathy, to the Davises.
Next door?
To the Davises.
You want me to call you on the phone?
That's right.
What for?
Kathy.
We want to see if the bell rings.
What bell?
The telephone bell.
Oh, well, sure. Why didn't you say so?
I just did.
And Kathy, we don't want Mommy to worry about the telephone, so we'll keep this a secret, won't we?
Oh, sure.
Go out the back way. It's quicker.
Okay. Say, how will I know if it doesn't ring?
We'll tell you when you answer it.
Oh, that's right. I'll hurry as fast as I can, Daddy.
That's a good girl.
Jim.
We'll be right in, honey. Bud,
Yes, Dad?
to make it look good, I won't rush to the phone when it rings. You take it and tell me it's Mr. Smith.
Okay.
And keep your fingers crossed.
Well, I've had him crossed all day.
What are you two mumbling about?
It's just man talk, honey. Well, how's everybody getting along in here?
Jim, you've got to do something about this house. Betty?
Yes, Aunt Martha.
The wind whistles through here like a sieve.
Want me to take the window, Betty?
Would you please?
Sure, I'll be right...
Bud?
Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry, Betty. I have to answer the telephone.
What?
What he means is if it rings, he has to answer it. Don't you, Bud?
Oh, yeah. That's what I mean. If it rings, be kind of silly answering a phone if it didn't ring, wouldn't it?
Jim, I think you and I better have a little talk.
About what, honey? Don't forget, Aunt Martha's here, and she's our guest. Aren't you, Aunt Martha?
You made more sense when you were 5 years old.
I guess I did at that, didn't I?
I have never seen a house like this. As soon as the window is closed, the furnace goes crazy. Betty?
Yes, Aunt Martha.
Enough to suffocate a body.
Well, what do you know? The phone.
Dad, it's Mr. Smith.
Bud?
Oh, well, I...
Don't you think you ought to answer it first?
Oh, sure, I'll be glad to.
Never mind, I'll get it myself.
Bud, you and I are going to sit down and have a long talk.
Yes, ma'am.
My son. Leave it to him to get everything all fouled up. It's Mr. Smith. Hello?
Hello, Daddy? This is Kathy.
Oh, hello, Sam. How are you?
Hello? Daddy?
No, we were just sitting around, talking.
Daddy, it's Kathy.
You are, huh? How did that happen?
How'd what happen?
Stuck in the mud, huh?
Daddy?
Outside of Plainville? Well, that's awful.
Daddy, don't you want to talk to me?
Why, it won't be any trouble at all, Sam.
Daddy?
Bud and I will be there in less than an hour.
Daddy?
Glad to help, Sam.
It isn't Sam.
See you later, Sam.
Daddy?
This is awful, Margaret. Sam Woody's in a terrible spot.
So I gathered.
He's stuck in the mud outside Plainville, and I promised that Bud and I would go help him.
Oh, well, that's very nice of you, dear.
Get your coat, Bud. We haven't any time to lose.
Okay, Dad.
And make sure you've got a good tow cable in the car.
You bet.
Better take along an extra motor, too, dear.
All right. What?
I was talking to Dorothy this morning, and she said their motor was overhauled.
Ooh. It is, huh?
Yes. And I really think they should have a motor, don't you? You know, driving around the way they are.
Well, it'd help.
Betty?
Yes, Aunt Martha.
You know, it's a funny thing, Margaret, but somehow I got the impression that you don't believe me.
No.
Your entire attitude is very strange.
It isn't just my attitude, Jim.
I see what you mean.
Dad? Oh, I have to answer it first.
I'll get it, Bud.
Don't you want me to see who it is?
No, I'll see who it is myself. A big help he turned out to be. Hello?
Hello, Daddy? This is Kathy again.
Yes?
I forgot to ask you. Did it ring?
Oh, that's what it was.
What was?
Sam, I'm sure glad you called back.
Daddy, it's Kathy.
Hold on a second, will you, Sam?
But I'm not Sam.
Margaret, it wasn't Sam Woody, it was Sam Moore.
Oh, really?
Yes, wasn't that silly?
Probably the silliest thing I've ever heard. Let me have that phone.
But Margaret, if you'll just let me tell you...
The phone, please.
Honey, this whole thing...
Hello, Kathy?
Yes, Mommy?
You may come home now. Daddy's all through playing games.
Mommy,
Yes, dear.
did the phone ring?
Yes, Angel. It rang beautifully.
That's good. Goodbye.
Goodbye, dear.
Margaret, if you'll just listen for a minute.
Yes.
Well, maybe it'll take a little longer than a minute. But you see...
Yes.
Bud?
You want me, Dad?
Yes, there's something I think you ought to,
It didn't work, huh, Dad?
Bud, there's no sense letting those tickets go to waste. Why don't you take them over to Mr. Phillips? Tell him, we won't be using them.
Are you sure?
Quite sure, dear.
Okay. Everything has to happen to me.
Well, that was quite a performance, wasn't it?
We'll talk about it later, huh?
You can count on that.
Well, if you two are caught up on your gabbing, you can get me my coat.
But, Aunt Martha, I told you, we're having tea.
Well, have it. Jim, don't stand there. Get my coat.
Aunt Martha, you don't understand. This tea is for you. You don't have to visit your friends. They're all coming here.
My friends? Jim Anderson, do you think I came all the way from Columbus to visit those old fogies?
Aunt Martha?
I'm going to the ball game.
Oh, no.
Now it's Monday. Gloomy, gloomy Monday. And nowhere is it more so than in the Andersons' breakfast nook. Like this.
A fine Sunday that turned out to be. Methuselah and his girlfriends.
But how many times have I told you not to read the newspaper at the table?
Oh, I just want to see the ball scores, Mom. Can't I please? Holy cow!
What's the matter, Bud?
Dad, Look at this.
I want to see too.
The irate spectator. Oh, no.
Jim, what is it?
Betty, you wanted our name in the paper? Well, here it is.
On the sport page?
That's right, with a picture and everything.
Jim, you're joking.
Oh, sure, big joke. The irate spectator who was arrested for beating an umpire with a pop bottle during yesterday's doubleheader has been identified as Mrs. Martha Randolph, who is visiting her niece and nephew, Mr. and Mrs. James Anderson of 607 Maple Street.
Oh, no.
That concludes tonight's presentation of Father Knows Best, brought to you by Vickery Chiropractic. Join us again next week for another episode starring Rob Bowman and Gentry Fifer as Jim and Margaret Anderson. The kids were played by Kenzie, Karlee, and Weston Holzinger. Hard Road Theater's stage-at-home radio serials is available on the Hard Road Theater's Facebook page, our website, www.hardroad.org, and as a podcast through your favorite podcast provider, Apple or Spotify. Thank you for joining us today. I'm your announcer, Bill Sullivan. Have a good day, and please, be safe.